We are started. This is official. Let me, as I do this, because there's no script to life other than being true and genuine at who we are, being genuine to who we're becoming, being genuine to who we've been, yet who we've been isn't who we are, but where we're, it's part of the story of where we're going.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So I start this because this energy is real.
Yes.
This energy is something that's everlasting. This energy is something that's infinite. Yeah. And to say this, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. Chardelle.
Wow.
Motivational Moore. It's a whole plethora of lists that we're going to go down, right? And we're going to venture into. But this is a special moment because we're honoring you. Your debut is here.
Can you believe that?
So, if you're just tuning in, this is the unfinished artist, Poetically, Poeticlee. See, look, even the, let me take this off.
It's just vibes, okay?
The chrysalis came out. This is the unfinished artist, Chardelle Moore.
How are you? I'm so happy you get to meet in person.
In person.
In person, because I have been following your artistry.
Thank you.
And I'm just so inspired.
Yeah.
You know, by your music, by your poetry, by your vibe, by
Thank
your light.
Thank you.
And poetically, you are on a different dimension.
Thank you. Well, this dimension is obviously leveled out to where Chardelle is because you're on a dimension that's truly about inspiration, truly about motivation, truly about just getting people's fire ignited and really becoming a better version of themselves. Yes. So I want to ask you right now, how are you today? Like, no, who are you today? Not forget about how are you, because who you are is gonna tell me how you doing. Who are you today?
Oh my goodness.
Who are you?
Deep. Who am I today?
Yeah.
A being, a spirit,
okay.
Living life in my purpose, staying true to my calling. I am ever evolving, ever growing, just learning self in a way I have never learned self before.
Wow.
And I honor the present moment of now. I am who I am.
Yeah. So with a part of that, you are being who you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to go straight into this.
Yes.
You put out your project. You put out your album. You put out your debut project. Your music celebrating this moment right here because it's out. It's officially out. I want you to tell, because I can say everything right, though. It's a power when you get to tell people your album title. Tell people real quick, and this is going to be your album title, favorite, suggest a song people to go listen to.
Wow.
And then tell me the last song you worked on. I know these are boom, 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 but I'm going to say reason. Album title.
Okay.
Suggest a song for people to go listen to. And then the last song that you worked on. It's a reason.
Okay. The album title is called Inward Awakening.
Right.
And can I talk about it or just go in the
order?
No,
go in the order.
Okay,
real quick. Go in the order. Go into some reason.
Okay. Inward Awakening.
Yes.
And what was the second question?
Suggest a song for people to listen to.
Wild Wild Ride.
Wild Wild Ride. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And the last song that I worked on the album, I think it was Wild Wild Ride. I think it was Wild Wild Ride.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So perfect. Just how I wanted to go. Inward Awakening. Wild Wild Ride. Explain this Wild Wild Ride.
Goodness.
Now get into it.
Explain Wild Wild Ride.
Explain the whole process. Yes, this was a Wild Wild Ride.
Oh my goodness. King.
Queen, tell us about it. Tell us about the adventure.
You gotta get so deep.
Okay.
Inward awakening. You see, when you embark on a journey of discovering self, it's so beyond powerful. Okay? But it's not easy. I began to have a quest for life in a way that I cannot even describe in words. Obviously, the people who are connected to you get it. There's a certain evolution that happens when you start to accept yourself, examine yourself, discover yourself. Okay? And that is the journey that I embarked in with my own inward awakening. I left my job in 2019 as an anchor, reporter, and creative producer at the Fox affiliate in Baltimore. Do you know why I left, Lee? I left because I had this calling that I could not explain, and I felt like I was supposed to be some type of creative messiah. I never even said this. But because I am so in tune with your energy, I've had so many of these interviews. Okay, I get interviews all the time, every week. But you're the first person that actually said these words. I felt like I was being called to be a creative messiah. I could not explain the feeling. I loved empowering people. I loved the arts. And I also realized how trapped we are as human beings by the matrix, by the system, by not thinking we're good enough for whatever reason, by external forces, you know? And it was time to renew my deal. And I knew if I was to re-sign this deal, I would be settling for multiple reasons. I was so thankful for my experience at Fox 45 Baltimore. God couldn't have put me at a better station. But the thing about when you settle in life, that's what you get. Everything is just energy. And there's seasons for things in your life. And that was my season, and I had to be there to learn. But I knew I was called to do something beyond the physical dimension through the power of my spirit that only I could do. Okay? So when I left, it was like I began searching more with myself. And I launched Motivational Moore, my own company, which is a multimedia and communications company elevating the human consciousness. I knew what I wanted to do with this company. However, because of this continuous inward awakening, I was a little bit lost because I was not staying true to myself. Meaning, the vision was there. Everything was there, but I was going hesitant towards my own soul. That's what happens sometimes, especially when you're doing something so different, right? So I knew what I wanted to do. I've always been like this. It's just the older that I get, I'm getting more in tune to who I am, because you are who you are, right? So literally, this is so deep, but I made a poem called You to Plug. And I did it just with the phone, and I went on Instagram, and I was like, da-da-da, and I made a poem. And from that poem, because that's the beauty about creation, okay? When you create something, as creators, all we're doing is expanding the energy. So one of my good friends, Divine Star, we became good friends. He was actually a guest on Fox 45 who was playing the drums. Was like, you need to come into the studio. But I already knew that. See, this is the thing, Lee. We already know these things. We already know. Nothing that has ever happened to me, good or bad, I didn't know. That's the crazy thing when you're so in tune. I already knew. Because literally, before I was leaving, I went to a concert and I said, I belong on this stage, empowering people in the way that I'm doing. Because here am I every weekend, I'm hosting events, I'm speaking, I'm dabbling into my poetry, but I didn't own my power, and we'll talk about that. So it started from, going to the studio, and I thought I was just going to do You to Plug, the poem, just clear audio. And that led to, doing it and producing it on all streaming platforms. Then I released Self-Love is a Beautiful Journey, right? And then COVID hit, and I'm just like this whole thing, we can't go anywhere. I started to even dig deeper. I was even digging deeper before. But when I started to dig deeper, it was not even just the poetry, it was life. What is this? What is my purpose? The things that I liked, it was beyond the physical. I said, I really like empowering people. But guess what, Lee? I realized God was telling me, Char, before you can empower anyone, you have to empower yourself. And I had to do a lot of self-healing with my mind, and just discovering myself in a way that I cannot even explain. Every day, kings and queens, I'm discovering myself. I already even knew this conversation was going to happen. I already knew, because things are divine. And I started tapping into my spirituality in a way that I've never done before. This is another thing, but you're going to be the first person that I'm saying this on camera. I've always had spiritual gifts. I've always felt things before they happened. Since I was a little girl. Like everybody that I grew up with, they're like, oh, Shara, she does TV stuff. You know what her real gift is? She told me about A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I haven't told anybody. She knows things. I have these things. Some people have athletic abilities. I have spiritual abilities, right? So, but also when you have these spiritual abilities, sometimes, because you have them too, I already see it, okay? It's also a journey, even accepting that, right? So when I started writing Inward Awakening, I knew I had to create art my own way. And that took courage. Because I knew I was going against something that wasn't really something. You know what I mean? I knew I was creating a whole new form of artistry used to empower people to become their highest authentic self, to empower people to become free. But what happens with this, when I started creating this album was helping me to create, helping me to begin with myself. Remember, we were supposed to do a song together? We were supposed to do a song together, Kings and Queens. I wasn't even in the right mental frame. I was so all over the place because I was going and you know what it was? I was building. I was learning myself. Right? So sometimes you gotta strip away everything physical, and get to know who you are, and that is a process, and you have to be able to honor that. You know? So a lot of things, a lot of projects, I could not do it. I could not do it because it was like I was learning me in a way that there was no word to describe. It took 2 years to produce Inward Awakening because not feeling like I could do it for whatever reason, and that was never my personality. But I realized a lot of times the things that our soul wants to do, not externally, not for fame, not for this, sometimes gives us the biggest restriction. It is so deep. It is so deep, and it's like, how can something that is so pure to who you are give you the most restriction? You know? And it's like, it is a battle to be free because not everybody's going to get it. I even was having a conversation with my parents 2 days ago, and my dad's like, why don't you write soft rock music? And I said, wait, what? First of all, I just released my album. And he was like, look at Rihanna. Rihanna's a billionaire. You know, she chose to do this type of music. I said, yes. And I said, wow, look at the essence. If my own parents could say that, and I love Rihanna. But guess what? Rihanna can't be me. I can't be her. I can't be you.
Okay. Let me pause you right there.
Yeah.